afternoon. Welcome to all. It's a great privilege to be standing here as part of this group celebrating the marriage of Lish and Preston. You've all traveled from around the world to share in today's event, and on behalf of Lish and Preston, we'd just like to extend a very warm welcome and thanks to all of you for joining today's epic celebration of love. The group that's here, I think it's important to point out, represents the most important people in the lives of Preston and Lish as individuals. There's an old saying with respect to raising children that it takes a village. Shut up.
Yeah, they're all children.
It's a lot of children. In many ways, it's also true of a marriage. And your friendship and your love will continue to guide and encourage Preston and Lish as they enter the next phase of their lives as a properly married and respectable couple. Lish and Preston both cherish your love and your friendship, and they're so very happy that you're all here today. Lish, you look beautiful. Preston, pretty good. It's an interesting exercise acting as an officiant for a wedding with zero prior experience, although I have seen a wedding or two, as it were. Some of you may be surprised to hear that I'm not actually ordained and I have no official status as a priest, minister, or any other religious authority. Some of you will be less surprised to hear that. I am, however, very enthusiastic, which helps. That, and I know Preston and Lish very well. I was there when they met, and I've had the privilege of watching their relationship and their love grow. I'm very proud to call them friends, and I'm so very proud to be standing here with all of you today. As I've prepared for today, as you can see, I've spent a lot of time reflecting on the most important bits of the ceremony, which naturally evolves into considering the most important elements of marriage: love, commitment, loyalty, resilience, humor, and respect. Marriage is a beautiful thing. It may be the most beautiful thing in the world. I know it's the greatest thing I've ever done by a mile. But what is it that makes it so beautiful? Is it the love? Is it the intimacy? Is it the companionship? Is it the awesome Instagram photos you're going to bring back from Spain? Is it commitment and loyalty? Is it knowing that you have a partner by your side who knows you, who truly knows you, and even in spite of knowing you, will stand by your side during all of life's ups and downs, ebbs and flows, triumphs and disasters? A partner who is in some ways an extension of yourself and vice versa. In knowing you're not alone any longer, truly not alone, even if sometimes you kind of want to be just for a while. The answer to this question is, it's really an unknown. It's all of the above, and it's more. I would propose that, as with any truly beautiful thing, diamonds, the Mona Lisa, I guess, Lish's Spotify playlists, the oceans, and the islands, the most beautiful thing in the world are those which require a huge amount of time, energy, patience, effort, and sacrifice in order to create. Beautiful things are created through very imperfect process, both in nature and by man. But those which make it out the other side through this imperfect process are the things that we value above all else. Marriage is beautiful for that reason. It's imperfect, it's hard at times, but the result is something of unparalleled joy and beauty and pride. Marriage requires all of that and more. And in considering the key elements of a marriage, for those reasons, I believe humor, resilience, and commitment to be among the most important. Commitment to pushing forward, come what may, buoyed by a strong foundation of love and humor. This resilience can and will see you through anything life sends your way. Now, every marriage is different. Those of you here, as the dearest family and friends to Lish and Preston, know theirs to be equally unique. They've dated for what feels like an eternity, as it has been, and they've built a really beautiful life together. They're only having the marriage ceremony today, but the love and the commitment that they have built has been around for a really long time. It's a sterling example of what one hopes to achieve in a marriage. Their relationship is one that I have observed and in many ways aim to continue to achieve with my own wife, produces the quiet happiness and contentedness you see when these two are together. But to avoid the risk of only focusing on this happy wedding stuff, I wanted to share some specifics to bring these qualities to life. Ahead of the ceremony, I asked Lish and Preston to complete a questionnaire that I put together. I wanted to hear many things from their perspective. I've been there for most of it, but I wanted to hear from them from the inside. What was the love like? Not the loving, okay? And as you can imagine, the content that they sent back, solid gold, every bit of it. In fact, it was so good that when it went back to my work email, the message triggered content policies, preventing them from being delivered. The specific content policy violation, in case you're curious, was with respect to a profanity block list. And just to be clear, both of their questionnaires individually came back to me and triggered this policy. It's really my distinct pleasure to share a few examples. No kids. What was your first impression, Lish? Who the hell is this guy? In the bad way, not the good way. It's verbatim. How would you describe your fiance to people who are hearing about them for the first time? Preston, you're definitely going to like her more than me. Describe your fiance in 3 words. Preston, small, sneaky, ninja. Name 5 things you love about your fiance. Lish, his passion, intelligence, his ability to make me laugh, his drive, and all of the non-conventional ways he shows me that he cares about me and he loves me. Preston, sense of humor, her smile, optimism, her warm-heartedness, and her ability to make an amazing sandwich. This is where it gets really good. How did you meet in your words? Lish. Les brought him around once. Les left. I was like, Les, take your friend. He's not our friend. It's not our responsibility to entertain him. Les is like, Lish, I don't know. He's going to stay. He stayed and followed us around like a weirdo, even though none of us talked to him. Fast forward like 4 to 5 months, Les brought him out again, all caps, and he was still a weirdo. But in Preston's words, he always tells me persistence overcomes resistance. And here we are. And I'm just sitting here writing this up thinking how much I love him, but how effing frustrating content policy triggered he also is, and that I may stab him within the next 2 weeks. I mean, we all knew it would come at some point, but just to be clear, a small stab wound, like 1 to 2 stitches max, if anything. It's like really romantic stuff. It is interesting, though, the specific credible threat of imminent violence did not trigger any content policy. We need to have a word with the IT folks about that. There's many more examples I'm really happy to share with literally anyone. Just give me your email address after the ceremony. It's solid gold. Lish and Preston, I stand here with you today feeling overwhelmed with joy, seeing you both so happy as you commit to spending the rest of your lives together. Your relationship is inspiring in so many ways. I'm thrilled to see my best friend sharing this beautiful, quiet contentedness with a smart, beautiful, and endlessly kind woman who is significantly out of his league. And equally happy for you, Lish, as in addition to his majestic locks, Preston's one of the kindest, most loyal, most resilient people I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. Everyone here shares in this joy, and all of our lives are enriched because we have the pleasure of calling you family and friends. Now, before we move on to the vows, I wanted to share a poem I found while Googling how do you officiate a wedding. I'm not always a huge poetry guy, surprisingly, but when I read this, I felt it speaks much more eloquently than I can to this concept of marriage as a beautiful and imperfect process. The importance of flexibility and living in the present relationship and accepting it as it is now. The following is by some lady in some book. When you love someone, you do not love them all the time in exactly the same way, from moment to moment. It's an impossibility. It's even a lie to pretend to. And yet, this is exactly what most of us expect. We have so little faith in the ebb and flow of life, of love, and of relationships. We leap at the flow of the tide and we resist in the terror at the ebb. We're afraid it won't ever return. We insist on permanency, on duration, on continuity, when the only continuity possible in life, as in love, is in growth, in fluidity, in freedom. The only real security is not owning or possessing, not demanding or expecting, not in hoping even. Security in a relationship lies neither in looking back to what was nostalgia, nor forward to what it might be in dread or anticipation, but living in the present relationship and accepting it as it is now. Relationships must be like islands. One must accept them for what they are here and now within their limits. Islands surrounded and interrupted by the sea and continually abandoned and then visited again by the tides of life. To me, this says life's hard sometimes. There's highs and there's lows. This is the nature of life. People face hard times. All that any of us can hope to achieve is to find your tribe. And you guys have found that. Lish and Preston have written their own vows to each other, and I'd like to now invite them to please share these vows, starting with you, Lish.
Mr. Wood, Sir, Babe, Pain in the Butt, Weirdo, just a few of my favorite names for you. So now I get to add husband. I used for rice, I made it, I'm here. Doing one of my favorite things, wearing white, standing in front of old people, public speaking, all because I love you, and I do believe that our love deserves some sort of celebration. But mostly because I want a real amazing vacation with all my favorite people. Yeah. I don't really want to talk about all the reasons I love you or why I think you're wonderful, because I think we all know that we don't need to feed into your ego or overconfidence. But I do want to express that I like you a lot. You know, the kind of like that I can withstand you on a daily basis. That's a lot of love. Yeah. But in all seriousness, I've never met anyone like you. I mean that in the best way possible now. You constantly surprise me, amaze me with your never-ending desire to learn and curiosity. You're like my own personal MacGyver, and I'm totally here for it. You always keep me on my toes, and I know life with you is never going to be boring. Thank you for that. I've never been a conventional person, so I appreciate that our love and relationship can be unconventional. Getting married is just one of the many ways that you surprise me in life. I never expected you to propose to me. Nonetheless, propose to me after I talked about pushing a groom out the window. You're a brave man.
That's included in the questionnaire, by the way.
You're a brave man who loves me just as I am, and I thank you for that. You got me, and you've never tried to change me. Thank you for always challenging me, for always trying to push me to be a better person, for giving me a different perspective, and for always looking out for my best interest even when I'm not looking out for my own. As much as you drive me crazy, and like I said, someday I'll probably stab you, and everyone will not question it. On the other side of that, know that I love you completely and wholly. And I could not and would not ever want to imagine my life without you. And I'm so lucky that I get to spend the rest of my life with you.
Dear Lish, if you're hearing these words, then it means you didn't bail on our wedding, which, if I'm completely honest, was greater than a 0% chance. From the moment I sat down to write my vows, I knew I wanted them to be thoughtful, sincere, and heartfelt. Also, With only about an hour till the ceremony, I was hoping for something that might come rather quickly. So let's begin. Vow number 1. I vow to never watch the next Netflix episode without you. And if I do, to pretend I haven't seen it already. Vow number 2. I vow to never make you get out of bed in the mornings earlier than is absolutely necessary. Vow number 3. I vow to continue to be your rock, who is detail-focused, the one in the relationship who is committed to planning the logistics of our future travels and social engagements. Vow number 4. I vow to tastefully find a way to tell our guests we prefer cash over housewares. Vow number 5. I vow to nearly always notice when you've had your haircut. In all honesty, though, you know me better than anyone else in this world, and somehow you still manage to love me. You are my best friend, my one true love. There is still a part of me today that cannot believe that I am the one who gets to marry you. I guess what I'm really trying to say is, if a double-decker bus crashed into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly place to die. It's our favorite song. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure and privilege is mine.
Truly, truly romantic.
It's the most romantic song.
Preston, if you can do this. Preston, if you can repeat after me. I give you this ring as a reminder
I give you this ring as a reminder.
that I will love, honor, cherish, and obey you. Yeah, we'll allow it. In all times, in all places,
All times, most places,
and in all ways, forever.
always, forever.
And Lish, if you could repeat after me. With this ring, I give you my heart.
With this ring, I give you my heart.
From this day forward, you shall not walk alone.
From this day forward, you shall not walk alone.
My heart will be your shelter, and my arms will be your home.
My heart will be
Your.
your shelter.
And my arms will be your home.
My arms will be your home.
And I promise not to stab you.
I promise not to stab you tonight.
That is the best I can do. We'll allow it. Preston, do you take Lish to be the wife of your days, the companion of your heart, and the friend of your life? To stand united in the face of adversity and to bask together in the light of good fortune. With these words spoken and all those yet unspoken, do you wish to marry Lish and join your life with hers?
Yes.
Lish, do you take Preston, this Preston, to be your husband? Do you promise to love, adore, and encourage him, share the good times and achievements, as well as the hard times and the disappointments, keep him in sickness and sorrow, and to love him forevermore?
Yes.
Excellent. In the sight of the seven, I hereby seal these two souls, binding them as one for eternity. Look upon one another and say the words: Father, Smith, warrior.
Father, Smith, warrior.
Mother, maiden, crone.
Mother, maiden, crone.
Stranger.
Stranger.
I am hers and she is mine.
I am hers and she is mine.
From this day until the end of days.
From this day till the end of days.
By the power vested in me by Her Majesty the Queen, the United States of America, the United States of America and its territories, and the remaining members of the European Union, and by God Himself, I now pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride. Everyone, please stand and congratulate Mr.